Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Phil's Picks. Yay! This week, episode 4, Hidden Gems for Every Store. As always, if you have questions about these or any other products, you can email me right here, phil@golddisc.com. You can also visit the website, goldendisc.com or golddisc.com or whatever. And you can see all of these things there. All right, let's get started. Lots of cool new stuff to get to today. First off, I want to talk to you about this game, Vast the Crystal Caverns from Leader Games. Now, I know I talked about this in the first episode, and some of you looked at it, some of you didn't, and it's been around for a bit, but it's really amazing. I love this game. It's a dungeon crawl where you get to play a knight, where you're trying to vanquish a dragon, goblins trying to defend the cave from the knight. You can play a dragon where you eat the goblins and try to escape the cave. You can play a thief where you just steal everything, or you can play the cave. No kidding, you can play the cave to try to crush everyone. Tile placement, moving around, it's an amazing game, really. It's essentially, you're every man for himself. There's very little coordination between the players, but it's a screw your buddy kind of thing that never plays the same twice. I love it. I love playing the cave. It's very cool. This game is neat, and they've just released an expansion or two for it. First off is the Miniatures expansion, which has just that. There are cardboard chips and some wooden chips in the box, but these have lovely miniatures. Here's your ladder to get out. Here's the sleeping dragon. Here's the awake dragon. They are going to eat you. There's also an expansion that has new characters, and the new characters include the evil unicorn. I will poke you with my horn. There's also a ghoul. Lovely transparency, and then this guy who's some kind of thief, I think. Really cool stuff. Also the neat treasure tokens. There's lovely bits in here. This expansion makes this game a whole heck of a lot more fun, a lot more tactile, and the expansions themselves add an entirely new level to the game. You can play villains, like if you're trying to get out of there, and also defeat your party on the way out, or your solo guy. It's very cool. I highly recommend you check it out. Super accessible to any age level, and the kids are going to love it because, again, you've got these miniatures that you can hold, and it makes it a much more tactile game. Vast the Crystal Caverns miniature expansion. They also have a bonus pack of cards. Inside here are the bad guys. Man, you really got to get this. Have this in your store. Great thing to throw in front of folks. Next up is another publisher that I know you've heard about, and some of you carry, and some of you, if you don't, you should. That publisher is Haba, H-A-B-A in the yellow box. It's a German company, been around for ages, and there is a U.S. division. They make some of the best board games in the world. Whether they're kids' games or not, whatever age group they're for, makes no difference. These are some of the best quality games you will ever find. I'm going to show you some I think you should have in your store. First off is Heroes of Cascadia. Now, this is super simple. This is for ages like, I kid you not, 5 and up. In fact, I think I taught our 5-year-old to play it in about 20 minutes, and he loved it. Now, this says 6 to 99, 2 to 4 players, but really a 5-year-old can play it. It has fantasy elements. You're riding dragons, you're riding beasts, you're trying to be the first to get to the gold. The cards are super simple for all kids to understand. If you want to introduce your kids to a fantasy board game, this is the one to start with, Heroes of Cascadia from Haba. Also available from them are some smaller box games, Unicorn Glitter Luck, which sounds as amazing as you would imagine. It's pink, but the boys love it too. You gather crystals as you're hopping from unicorns to clouds. Dude, seriously, I love this thing. A similar one is Dragon Rapid Fire, 5 crystals. Similar kind of thing. You're trying to collect the crystals and the eggs along the dragon's path. Get fire crystals out of the path. Really cool, again, for ages 3 to 99. So if you've got kids who are under 5, and you're looking for something to put in front of them that's dragons and chasing gold, whatever, here's your answer right here. Inexpensive, too. This one, though, this is one that every store should have. This game is called Orchard. It's sort of the bread and butter, the Mark I game of Haba. If you don't have this in your store, get it. This is an absolute wonderful my first board game. Comes with so much stuff inside that you wouldn't believe. Little baskets, giant fruit, a die that's just to die for, and the board and all that. It's a super simple game. We've been teaching our son this since he was about, 18 months old. Now he's an ace at it. There is an even simpler version for smaller kids, but to be honest, this one is fine for children of all ages. And if you got kids in the store, you're looking to get them something to do, you got grandmas that come in the store looking to get something that's not as advanced as a crunchy rule book or all those miniatures that need painting, here's your answer right here. Orchard from Haba, an amazing game. All of their games are, quite frankly, amazing. They're almost all in the yellow box as well, super easy to identify. They are making some more Euro games, what I call more adult games, even though they're not adult. They're more, just more along the lines of a Euro tactical game, not as kid-centered as some of these. But Orchard is amazing. This is a wonderful first game for you to get. Have these in your store. We have these in stock as well. Cannot go wrong with anything from Haba. Take a look at these guys. Super awesome. Next up, I'm going to show you, where did they go? Here they are. A new company with a new face around the Golden headquarters. This is called Grand Gamers Guild, is this publisher. 3 little games, a guy named Mark Spector's publishing them. You might know that name because he may have called your store. We've hired Mark to be some help for me to calling stores and telling you about all the sales and promotions and new items that are coming out. I'm too busy out there doing other stuff and taking care of everybody else. Needed a little help, so Mark Spector has come in. If you call your store, remember these games, but also be nice to him. He's a very, very nice guy. First off is Pocket Ops. Pocket Ops is essentially tic-tac-toe, is the core mechanic of the game, but you're battling wits against other spy agents trying to kill off spies. So you pre-pick the space you want to go to. If you successfully pick where your enemy's going, you kill him. There are snipers, there are other things. You get 3 in a row and you're off. Look at the size of this thing. It's super teeny tiny. It fits in a pocket. There's your game board. That is your entirety of your game board. Fits in a pocket, designed to be taken anywhere, very low cost. Super game, good for kids of all ages. Next up is Stroop. You've probably seen this around quite a bit. It's a game of perception and perplexion. It is a rapid-fire card game, real-time observation, and it's the Stroop effect. A mental hiccup caused by different functions of the brain interfering with one another. You'll see that because here is the word solid that is not in fact solid. It is hollow. Here's backwards that is not backwards. Here's forward that is backwards. Little is big, blue is black, 4 is yellow. It's cats and dogs living together. It's pure insanity. You have to match color for color or description for what have you. It's insane. Very, very fast game. Super fast paced. Lighten up the charts. Stroop from Grand Gamers Guild. Another one they've released is this one, Unreal Estate. In this game, you use cards to deal in fantasy real estate. Welcome to Guildmore. You've got castles, you've got sky things, you've got tree houses. It is a bidding game and a trick-taking game, card counting a bit because you have to press your luck to see how many more cards are coming out. Everyone is limited. Very good art, very simple, super cool game. Love it to death. Unreal Estate. Again, all 3 of these from our friends at Grand Gamers Guild. Look for Mark to call your store soon, and if he doesn't, call me and I'll send him your way, and we'll take your orders that way. That will work just as well. Now, next up, I want to show you some dragons. Not just any dragons, but some beautiful, rubbery, plasticky dragons. This is from a company called Safari Ltd. Safari Limited. I've been pimping these guys for quite some time, and they are the plastic tubes full of toy soldiers or dragons or terrain or what have you that you usually find in Michael's Crafts. If you've ever been in the Michael's Crafts, you see the end cap and the toy section full of these things. Well, they're really inexpensive, and it turns out we can get them for a full discount. So you get them at your standard normal distributor discount, and you can sell them in your store. They're really something else. Just to give an example, here's a 28mm fig. It's a Reaper figure of some type. Next to said dragon. I'll hold up the camera so you can see. The scale is just perfect for these guys to put on your D&D table. This one is the ghost dragon. I would call that definitely a lich dragon with the holes in the wings. But they're rubber and they're pre-painted and they cannot be... You can throw them across the room and it won't hurt them. They won't damage. They won't chip. They're very slightly bendy, but really nice. There's a 3-headed fiery dragon. Roar! I get you now. Roar. Even the little... Look how cute. Aw, dragon eggs. They're so adorable. All of these things have been on pre-order with us for ages. They sent us a box of dragons. It got lost in the mail. We found it yesterday. We're going to send it back to the warehouse. So if you have these on order, these are coming very soon. The tubes are right behind them, and we are still taking pre-orders for all of this stuff. The company is SAF on the website, Safari Limited. You've seen them in, like I said, Michael's Crafts before, and you always thought, man, I wish I could get those in my store. You can. They're super inexpensive. If you buy a great big pile of them, they provide those big acrylic display racks for free. So if you're really interested in that, give me a call, and I'll hook you up with those racks. But for your D&D game, your Pathfinder game, anytime you need some kind of a dragon, a super emboss. Man, Safari Limited, that is just the way to go. This figure can sit there and guard that sign. Oh, forgot this guy. This guy's beautiful. Some of these are just, the paint jobs are phenomenal on these things. It's unbelievable. I think this retails for $11.95, maybe $12.95, something like that. Super inexpensive. Absolute must-have in your store if you sell any kind of miniatures. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, and the last thing, is I got to walk over here, so bear with me a second while I pick up a great huge stack of books, which is just too heavy to carry to the table at one time. There we are. Now, some of you are familiar with Osprey Publishing. Osprey Publishing makes all kinds of books and has for many, many, many years. I'm going to put a stack of them in front of you so you can see. Now, most people are familiar with Osprey in the military history type of thing, from the Men-at-Arms, for example, armies of the Italian Wars of Unification. Droll kind of esoteric stuff that maybe you're only interested in if you're painting an army of Piedmont or the Two Sicilies, and they have tons and tons of these, and then we have them available. There's also interesting stuff from all manner of life. There's Savannah, 1779, so there's your Revolutionary War period. Sneezing cat. Imperial Japanese Navy anti-submarine escorts, one of my favorite aircraft, RAF Canberra units. And then it gets into some real interesting stuff that you might not know they have. Here's the Nazi invasion of Denmark and Norway in 1940. Fascinating. Sharpshooters, the American Civil War, how they operated and their guns. The Suomi submachine gun. Man, let me tell you, Finland in World War II, these guys were hardcore. And this gun saved Finland from Russia. It really did. They also make some game rules. Oh my gosh, let me tell you about their game rules. The men who would be kings. This is colonial war gaming rules. So if you want to, have men in pith helmets and kilts fighting in the Arab Middle East areas, well, there you go. Have at it. Another one is a bit of a fantasy combination. This is Broken Legions, fantasy skirmish war games in the Roman Empire. Are those demons and gladiators? Yes, they are. Osprey also publishes the books for Warlord games from the Bolt Action series. So here's Campaign New Guinea is a good example. Frostgrave, everybody loves Frostgrave. If you don't, get it. This is a wonderful miniature set. This rulebook is very inexpensive, has wonderful imagery, it's selling incredibly well. The miniatures come from England, from North Star, but all these books, Lich Lords, Into the Breeding Pits, Forgotten Packs, Tales of the Frozen City, and brand new, Ghost Archipelago, Fantasy War Games in the Lost Isles. So you get into the jungles of some of this stuff. Super cool. But there's a whole other pile that they make as well that are sort of game-related and really cool. This is Dracula's America, Shadows of the West. Yes, it's a war game, and, well, yes, it's Dracula in the Wild West. I mean, come on, it's super cool. Who doesn't want to see a gunslinger in plate mail? That's amazing. Use whatever miniatures you have at hand, but this is an amazing, simple rule set. Another one they've just come out with recently, Scrappers, post-apocalyptic skirmish war games. Same kind of story. Use any miniatures you like. These are from Pig Iron. There's some in here from Reaper. It doesn't really matter. Use whatever miniatures you like, and Scrappers is your system for it. How about some reference material for your campaign? Steampunk soldiers, your uniforms and weapons from the Steam Age. There's a sergeant in Steam gear, legionnaires, tirailleurs, flamethrower from the World War I period, a private. They just look cool. And so if you're looking to make up characters or NPCs for your campaign, be it a steampunk or some kind of Space 1889 or what have you, really amazing reference book. The follow-up to that is Steampunk Soldiers from the American Frontier. So if you want to add a little bit of steampunky and fantasy bits to your Western campaign, here's how you do it. Bombardier, dropping bombs. These get really cool because they get all of the North American states, but then they have some bounty hunters and some, look at that, land ironclad. Man, I just want to drive that thing. How cool. How about a Hunter's Guide to Zombies? Yes, that's right. Zombies Hunter's Guide. Super informative. Vampire Hunter's Guide. Same thing. Look at all these books trying to get in my way. They're everywhere. If you are interested in any kind of actual vampire mythologies, now this is South American vampires, brief histories, some stories about what have you. Not so much a splat book, but a reference book. Good stuff about vampires and their history in all realms of fiction and nonfiction, maybe. Same with werewolves, same exact thing. Werewolves in history all around the world through time. How about Cthulhu Wars, the United States battles against the mythos? No kidding. This goes all the way back to the founding of our country and all the battles we have had with the elder gods. Look at that. World War I coming right up into the... what a mess. See? Look at that. Cthulhu eats submarines. You know the poor guy is hungry. They did a follow-up to that as well, the Cthulhu campaigns in Rome. Here is Cthulhu in ancient Rome, which, you know, we all knew they were a little culty to begin with. And, well, there you go. Now we have it. Super fantastic alternate history stuff for your campaign. Wars of Atlantis, the same exact thing. Headless Horseman, if you want to add this guy and his stories to your horror campaign. How about War of the Worlds? This just fleshes out the story a little bit more, gives you some more detail about the story itself, how they attacked, and all that good stuff. One of my dear friends, Kenneth Haidt, wrote this book, The Nazi Occult. True stories of how the Nazis got a little crazy with their occult stuff, what they did with it, and things you can add to your campaign out of pure fiction. If it says Kenneth Haidt, you know it's got to be good. Buy it right now. Here's another one, Nazi Moon Base. Who doesn't want to go to the moon and see Nazis fighting? Here's wait a minute, what was it? There we are. There we are, U.S. Navy aircraft from 1947 fighting against, well, Nazi flying saucers. We knew it was going to happen. Big railgun pointed at Earth. Those troublesome Nazis. Now, Osprey still makes all of the military history books you could ever want. This is one of my favorites. Soviet tanks. They have British tanks. They have all kinds of tanks. Decent-sized books. This book is phenomenal. It's about a Norwegian... a guy with a Norwegian flag ship who sailed the world in World War I and captured 14 vessels. He was an unbelievable swashbuckler. He was a German guy. It was captured, escaped, stole a ship, went back in raiding, all under sail during World War I. My favorite part of World War II, my favorite thing to read about, Finland and the Winter War and the continuation and the Lapland Wars, the way the Finns fought against the Russians and later the Nazis. Absolutely curl your hair. It is an amazing story. Great huge tomes. They're a little bit more expensive than the other ones, but worth every single penny. My current favorite new series, the X-Planes series from Osprey. They talk about all the experimental aircraft and some what-if aircraft that might not have ever existed. The Bell X-1, first piloted by Chuck Yeager, broke the sound barrier. How about the Messerschmitt Me-264? This was the bomber they were planning on using to bomb the East Coast. Never really got into production, but there were a few out there. The X-15, first plane into space. This one is about Luftwaffe emergency fighters. These were some of the jets they cobbled together in the last months of the war and plans for ones they had later, which are really fascinating. The Bell X-2, which is the follow-up, of course, to the X-1. A little troublesome there, but they still had a lot of things going for them. The one that's missing, which I think I loaned to somebody, is my favorite. It's about the RAF TRS-2, the amazing strike aircraft that was canceled in development. It could have been a real world burner. All of these books and more from Osprey, most of them for a retail price of less than $20. All these small books are $20 or less. Even the heavier ones, the hardcover ones here, this one's $40, but man, it's worth it. It's an heirloom. So that's what I want you to look at this week. Remember, Vast the Crystal Caverns, Hobbit Games, anything in the yellow box, Grand Gamers Guild for your pocketed games, Safari Limited for your plastic stuff, and Osprey for all these books. That's it for this week's episode, folks. It is Phil's Picks, Episode 4, Hidden Gems for Every Store. If you have any questions about these or anything else, feel free to drop me a line, phil@golddist.com, or you can call the toll-free number on the website, or you can just visit the website, goldendist.com. That's it for this week. We'll see you again soon. If you have any questions or comments or requests, let me know. See ya.